Yeah, so I wanted to talk about Chippy's work because one of my side pet projects is I've been maintaining a pauper cube, and the basically it's the list is put out by Adam Staborski. He writes for TCG Player. I've been curating my own copy of that because a lot of these cards, these common cards, are super powerful. And one of the cards that I first got, I don't even know, I must have traded for it or got it from somewhere, was a Doomblade signed by Chippy. And since it was a foil, that was actually the one that got me to sort of want to foil out the entire Pauper Cube. So I've been, every time he comes out with a new update, every couple of sets, I phase out all the cards that they've taken out, as well as gotten a few new of the new cards. And so I attribute me wanting to foil out that entire cube to that Chippy card. Now getting into the work there, one of the cards actually is that we'll get started with is in alphabetical is the Abyssal Persecutor. He came out. There's the art right there. He came out with World Wake, and he's a 6/6 flying trample for 2 and 2 black. And you can't win the game, and your opponents can't lose the game. So as long as this guy's on the board, you can't win. So you basically just have to beat him down and then just get rid of him somehow. Sometimes you got to kill your own creature, but that's how that works. Let's see. The next one is Chippy did the artwork for a couple of angels. That was actually for a chroma. This is a cool card that was used for the dual decks, Divine versus Demonic, as well as the From the Vault Angels. The Chroma Angel of Wrath, when it was like we were talking earlier about Rebecca Guay and how when she did the artwork for one of the editions of Sarah Angel, Sarah Angel was simple and it's elegant and basically got down to the point. When you get to a Chroma Angel of Wrath, that's a little ridiculous now. Granted, it's definitely a game winner if you can stay out long enough, because you actually got a 6/6 flying first strike, vigilant, trample, haste, protection from red and black, all for the low cost of 5 white. And that is kind of nutty, but this is cool artwork here. I always liked the angel work. One of my commander decks at one point was an angel commander deck pretty much, and the whole theme was just getting a bunch of angels out through green and white mana sources and other ways. Let's see here, looking through some of these other cards. If you played a lot of Modern and sometimes stuff during the World Wake, Rise of Eldrazi, the first time we visited Zendikar, then you would definitely remember this guy, Consume the Meek. It was definitely a way of getting rid of all of the creatures, because there was a lot of small guys in that time, a lot of little mana guys, a lot of other things, and this guy definitely would wipe out the board, and it got to be used a lot in Modern, because Modern also relied on a lot of low mana cost creatures to get out there, but this guy would just wipe them out for you. Also, unfortunately, going back to the Doomblade thing, has not been really used as much. I think they sort of stopped printing it regularly, because they've sort of moved on to other techniques. It was reprinted in an Iconic Masters set, but it hasn't been in a core set or any regular standard standard legal set since Magic 2014. And since we're coming out with Magic 2020, that's been 6 years since this thing's seen standard play. But it got its work done for a black and a colorless destroy target non-black creature, and it definitely was the it's a running joke in case any folks are newer. Every time they would come out with spoilers for a new set, my buddy and a lot if I found also on folks on the internet would be like, "Oh, that dies to Doomblade," because unless it was a black creature, it would die to Doomblade. But then they started coming out with indestructible stuff and other ways like that. So I think that's probably why they started moving away from the Doomblade kind of thing. Going back to the modern, if anybody was around during the Delver and or Splinter Twin days, you might know this guy, Axion Probe, for 1 blue, or it's a Phyrexian blue as they call it. Basically what you would do is you could pay 2 life instead of your blue, and you could look at a player's hand, draw a card. So you can sort of see what they're working with without even playing a land if you had to. You play your you pay your 2 life, and then you would you see what they have and plan on your game plan for the rest of it. Because most of the time, I usually try to guess what they're playing in a constructed format based on the first couple of cards. Most people probably try to do that, but you don't even have to guess on that. You just look at it and go, "Yep, you're playing that. I'm going to deal with it." The Grim Monolith is another fun card. I played this when I played my Legacy deck. It was played by Mud deck. A lot of artifacts, because you can sort of see in a little bit of the framework here, because it's a little smaller on the older style cards. The would have they were brown bordered are all your artifacts instead of the gray or silver border they have now. This Grim Monolith it would cost 2 colorless, but it did not untap during your untap phase, but then you would add 3 colorless to play that, but it would actually cost 4 to untap it. So it's a lot of tapping, untapping kind of shenanigans like that, but for the cost of 2 you'd get 3, so it's a little bit of ramp. And when you play it in the Legacy deck, it all fits artifact themes and such like that. Now another card. When I quit playing Magic probably around the whole time of Mirrodin, Darksteel, from that nature, and what it would, I sort of missed, I guess, what was almost the end of Magic itself, because I guess Magic really got really weird during Darksteel and Fifth Dawn time. So, but then I went off to school and I got finished my school and I got a job and really couldn't do much until I started getting back in when I was hanging around with my buddies around a campfire one night, and they're like, "Dude, we also used to play Magic, right?" And I'm like, yeah. We need to start playing again. So I was like, shit, yeah, let's play again. So I dug out all my cards, and none of my friends joined. So I was like, oh, okay, well, looks like we're doing it. But anyway, fast forward a little bit. I started getting in right when Shards of Alara was ending. We were going to Zendikar for the first time, and this guy came out and was really part of my Titan, the Primeval Titan deck. This guy did a lot of work. Lotus Cobra, in case you're unfamiliar, for 1 and a green. It is a 2/1 snake, but whenever a land entered the battlefield, you add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. So, if you would play a fetch land, you got your got 1 color or 1 mana of any color, and then you'd crack that fetch land, go get a basic. You'd get another one when the basic came in, and then whatever that basic can produce. So you'd get 3 off of just playing your lands for the turn. So it got really easy to get out a Primeval Titan, and then when Primeval Titan would come into battlefield or attack, he'd bring lands with him too. So it just snowballed after that. I recently played a cube with a bunch of my friends. Actually, not cube. We normally play cube, but this time we played a chaos draft. He had picked up a bunch of the Masters boxes, and we just grabbed one of each and said, all right, here we go. We're playing some chaos draft. And I grabbed one of these guys and another creature that fetched up lands, and got him a little going after a while. And it was pretty cool because I'd be like, yeah, fetch up 2 lands and get 2 colorless, tap those things, and then we would we'd get all the manas to do that. Let's see, what else is another one that's Chippy is responsible for. All right. Unfortunately, when we went back to Mirrodin, one of the mechanics that came along with it was Infect. Yes, I do kill with Infect in my artifact or my modern affinity deck, but the folks that I think use that as their main kill method that's a dirty way of doing it. But this guy, he's good peoples. For 3 black, you get a 4/4 flyer with Infect, and you can pay an extra black to give it haste, and then 2 black to regenerate it. They don't really use regenerate too much, but what would basically happen is it's from what I've been explained to it, the regeneration, it's like if you put a bubble on it, so that as soon as it takes any damage, that bubble pops, and you can sort of swing in and regenerate if it was going to be blocked, so it wouldn't die right off the bat like that. Speaking of my artifact affinity deck for modern, one guy that actually helped out a lot with that time frame was a Spellskite. For 2 colorless, you get a 0/4, pretty much a nice blocker for you. And for a Phyrexian blue, you can change the target of any spell or ability to Spellskite. This happened to be kind of fun here and there, especially if your people are throwing lightning bolts and little piddly red burn around. You could pay a blue or pay 2 life and redirect it to that guy, especially when he's going to be killing that. So this would sort of come in as a sideboard card against red decks. Also, when Splinter Twin was a thing, we used that a couple times. They had to be careful because you could redirect the Splinter Twin enchantment to the Spellskite, and so that would be that'd be bad for him to do that. So it really kind of hosed a lot of folks in that era of modern. Let's see. Chippy is also responsible for the lovely Summoner's Pact. In some variations of Modern, especially Escape Shift or Titan Shift, our buddy Primeval Titan came back again, this time through the means of a Summoner's Pact. It cost nothing, but you had at your next upkeep, you would have to pay 2 in a green, or else you lose the game. We believe we talked about the Slaughter Pact on a previous one, but this would be the basically search your library for a creature and put it into play. That's the last one I'm going to talk about that is I actually had an EDH deck or a commander deck with this card, the Tristani Selesnya's Voice. This was actually the general for my my life gain deck. I never really used its populate mechanic a bit, but I did use the when another creature comes under the battlefield under your control, gain life equal to that creature's toughness, because then you get stuff like the avatar. There's an avatar, I forget what the official name is, but when its power and toughness was your life total. So you'd play this guy, then you play that avatar, and you would gain 20, 40 life, and then they would all of a sudden become an 80-80 creature. So that was it was really fun with the whole life gain deck. A lot of people kind of got bummed about it, but I enjoyed it a lot. So hopefully you enjoyed that. That was Chippy, and we will look forward to checking out some other artists along the way. And if you do have one you enjoy and you want to chat about, please let me know, and we'll talk about it on a future stream.